UBC, inspiring Uganda.
My name is Keneth Niwamanya. Nrm Treasure in the Nrm Development Agenda book is a deep, brief, and comprehensive documentation of all the achievements of the Nrm government and the Nrm national chairman, who is also the head of the Nrm government, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, since 1986, and its precursors at all times. The precursors I mean here are FRONASA, UPM, PRA, NRA, and eventually the Nrm government. For example, the most formidable force on the continent, the EPDF we talk about today, is a direct result of the FRONASA that was launched in 1973 as an indictment against the dictatorial regime of Idi Amin. Widely explained is the fulfillment of the ideological principles of NRM, that is patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. And then 1984 brought the 10-point program, which have since increased 15. As of 2011, which necessarily integrated the new emerging factors such as environment, increasing human needs, etc. Pan-Africanism and democracy in particular are complete chapters in this book. While socio-economic transformation is discussed in a broader spectrum of independent complete chapters and sub-chapters of achievements in several areas such as education, employment, good governance, peace, equality, infrastructure, which is also demarcated into wide sectoral sub-chapters, that is transport sector, health sector, power sector, water sector, communication sector, and tourism. The economy, which is the sixth chapter, begins with a brief comparative statistical performance of Uganda's economy since the 1950s up to 2020 in various economic indicators. It is later divided into two major sub-chapters of agriculture and trade. It then ends with a strong ideological conviction of NRM and President Museveni as a complete chapter, which can also be termed as patriotism, and then summarizes all the achievements of the NRM government in summary form in two direct point paragraphs. Then the colored pictorial section of over 30 pages, each with at least two pictures. It is very much disappointing that up to now, most people don't know that under NRM, Uganda has had the capacity to manufacture a complete vehicle, for example, complete buses at Hira Motors, etc. So in the pictorial form, you see these projects in pictures. Each chapter or sub-chapter is deeply discussed with biblical, historical, and statistical facts, considering Uganda before independence, Uganda after independence, and then Uganda under NRM and President Museveni, with a well-researched information collected from the most trusted sources, that is books, reports of several MDAs, local and international companies on business, politics, and social economics, such as Bloomberg, Africa Business News, UCC, BBC, and CNN publications, etc. For example, the two tables showing the selected economic indicators of Uganda's economy between 1971 and 1980 and between 1981 to 1985. And on page 209 are collected from a report made by Anne Bigston and Steve Kaiz-Mugerwa in 1999 entitled, Is Uganda an Emerging Economy? Then the graph showing the inflation in Uganda throughout the years, where inflation reduced from 15.4% up to in 1986 down to negative 0.3% by 2000. This book takes the reader deeper beyond the expectations. Get a copy of your own. Read it and understand, for example, the origin of Africa. Originally Alkebrand, after General Leo Africanus, a Roman general, captured the Carthaginian Empire, present-day Tunisia. A chapter like Pan-Africanism is chronologically arranged into four main pillars, that is, Africa before colonialism, Africa under colonialism and its effects to her, the origin of Pan-Africanism and the struggle for independence in Africa, what Africa needs to do in order to such effects, as discussed by John Prendergast in his book, Hope and Crisis in Africa. Then, of course, what NRM and President Museveni have done towards building Pan-Africanism. While democracy is discussed right from its origins in Greece, around 507 BC, then democracy in Uganda before independence, democracy in Uganda after independence, and then the unmatched democracy the NRM has installed in Uganda since 1986. The content in this book is many times beyond what I can explain now. Maybe the readers who have bought copies of this book should testify. The main intention of this book or the core objective of this book, or why I wrote this book, is to help our cadres, mobilizers, members, leaders, and the whole NRM fraternity at large be able to explain the achievements of the NRM government and our national chairman to the general public and counter-offensively defeat the effects of some political actors who spread the falsehood and discredit NRM and our president that they have done nothing ever since they assumed the government. It is quite painful that despite the relentless commitment of NRM and our national chairman to secure Uganda's future through service delivery, some political actors unnecessarily create a misconception in the public to discredit the government efforts. Therefore, this book comes up at the right time to address such tendencies and increase the public trust in our government and president. It is quite comic for any person of a soberized mind to stand in public and say Idi Amin was better than NRM, whether for political reasons or otherwise. One would imagine where Uganda as a nation or even Africa would be had it not been for NRM and President Museveni. Uganda was completely a failed state by 1986, politically, economically, or even socially. Remember when there was a very serious friction between the North and the South. It is the NRM that comes in much later after the 24 wasteful years and starts to consolidate, maintain, sustain Uganda, and now it is at the take-off stage. So the question is how. Read this book. The whole of this book is all about how has that been put in place. In order for the public to fully understand the cause of this book, the keynote words in this book are translated into all the native languages of Uganda. I salute all the readers who have already bought copies of this book, and how I wish the whole population gets copies of this book to understand the real cause of NRM and President Museveni. Working with my publisher, I have also been able to donate free copies to all people I interviewed during my research. For example, the old men and women who helped me with historical facts, and all the one who helped me translate the keynote words into different local dialects. Some youth who showed much will to know the truth about the NRM and President Museveni, but would not raise funds to buy copies on their own. And as a matter of fact, I announced free copies to Honorable Semu Uganda, Dr. Kano Dr. Besije, Honorable Kyagulanyi, who intentionally caused such misconception in the public, especially the group of the section of the population who were born later after 1986 and do not have the facts about the past situation in Uganda, are the ones basically who this book is intended to, by the way. And I happen to be one of them. Now, if they get an opportunity to read and understand this book, which I have written myself, they really understand and know that had it not been for NRM and Uganda and President Museveni, then really Uganda would be a completely failed state. I therefore request everyone to be very patriotic, collaborative, and cooperative in this effort as we defend the legacy of our government. As I conclude, I salute President Yoweri Museveni because of his achievements and the government he leads. I have been employed, and I also employ a significant number of potential intellectuals as editors, book layers, publishers, designers, and lawyers, etc. I also salute the Right Honorable Niwamanya and the Right Honorable Todong for having been so much supportive and non-bureaucratic to any idea I ever presented to them, without whom probably this idea would have remained my wishful dream. I rallied the whole NRM fraternity to get copies of this book and be able to defend the legacy of our government and the national chairman. Anyone who may need copies may contact the NRM Secretariat or reach out to my office in Luzira or directly contact +256 7759 61609 or +256 74141 6502. I thank you. I wish you good luck.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.